Perfect. Almost everyone here. So good afternoon, dear guests. Welcome to our 8th webinar on vertical farming as part of the Equine Plus project funded by the European Union through Erasmus Plus. Through this project, we aim to empower young individuals to embark on a journey that revolves around essential and interconnected topics on vertical farming and entrepreneurship, including topics on sustainability, climate change, ensuring food security, and adopting smart farming practices. Equine Plus is a 2-year project that involves organizations from 6 different countries: France, Austria, Greece, Turkey, the Netherlands, and Portugal. You can learn about the project through our website. I'm going to paste it in the comments now, and it's going to be in the... thank you, Marco. You pasted it already. Well, okay. Then allow me to introduce our distinguished speaker for today, Mr. Vincent Truffault. I hope that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Who works as the agronomy director of Futura Gaia. With a wealth of experience in agronomy and cutting-edge technology, Mr. Truffault is here to share his insights and expertise. He holds a PhD in agronomic sciences, and his background is in fruit and vegetable research. He has made significant contributions to the field of high-tech greenhouses, but let's hear from him about him, as he's going to start his presentation with some small talk about his background. Well, let's welcome Mr. Truffault to share his insights and knowledge. Mr. Truffault, the floor is yours.
Thank you for this nice introduction. Let me share my screen. After that, the most important thing, so we discussed about the soil, we discussed a little bit about the cylinder and about the rotative system, but basically what is the why we choose that is because of the energy consumption. If you go back on the third slide of my talk, we know that if you transfer everything from open field to a plant factory, you will need a lot of energy. So we have to be sure that this energy is really efficiently consumed in an indoor environment. And that's why we decided to work with a cylinder, because you have a lot of plants and a few numbers of lamps, because there is a lot of homogeneity of the light within a cylinder, and it's better than an horizontal layers, or where you have a lot of lamps for few plants, because with LED, as you may know, you really have some short light angle, so you will have to be sure that for a lot of homogeneity you will propose and install a lot of lamp, maybe with few energy consumption, but anyway, a lot of lamp to be sure that every plant has the same homogeneity. So by using the cylinder, we divided by 3.6 the energy consumption of an indoor farm, and this is really a game changer in our business, especially with the energy crisis that we are facing right now. So that's why we are still alive right now, even with the energy crisis. It's because we have made some smart choice in terms of energy management. And my last slide about the why we choose the rotative cylinder instead of an horizontal layer is really linked to the maintenance and the automation of the system. So in our system, you can move one cylinder, extract it, work on it, and then go back with a cylinder with some new plants, for example, or with the maintenance that has been done. And the other part of the farm is still running. You just extract one over 400 cylinder, and then it's okay. So our robotization is achieved, and this is not the case in a lot of different vertical farming industry relying on horizontal layer, because you need some some manual operation. It's not easy to work. So right now we are pretty happy with our system. So that was about agronomy a little bit and also technology, but what are the sustainability parts? Because what we want to do is to provide some free of pesticide food locally. But if you have a lot of impact on the environment, it's not okay. So yeah, sustainability, it's above and beyond metrics, because sustainability is on economic, agronomic, technological part, and also for the society. So as a company, we also have to create jobs, and that's really important. So we talk about robotization, but we have also to create new jobs, and that's really important as a company. So we try to focus on that also, and not being only a technological provider. So yes, there is some robotization, but you will also create 15 to 20 jobs per farm. So that's quite interesting for the community. So this is really important, and we try to have a global positive impact, and we try to positively impact 7 sustainable goals defined by the UN. Which are listed here, but I won't go that far on this slide because it's more a marketing one. But what you want to see is more the metrics and the scientific parts. So this is on this slide. You can see the water consumption, the nutrient consumption, the CO2 consumption, and the pesticides that is needed to produce 1 head lettuces in different environments. So either in open field, in a heated greenhouses, or in a hydroponic or vertical farm, or in Futura Gaia. So what you can see that we are the champions of the world in terms of water consumption, because as you now know, we are using rotative geopony, so we don't have any drainage. 100% of the water is really really inside the plants, so we don't have any loss by transpiration of the soil, for example, because it's stuck into a box. For sure, we have the transpiration of the plant, but we can recirculate this water. But yeah, we are the champion of the world in terms of water consumption. In terms of nutrient consumption, we are quite as the same as heated greenhouses, and because in heated greenhouses they are reliant on recirculating nutrients also. But we decrease it from the open field. But we are not using any pesticides for sure. And what is finally important is the global impact. So on the CO2 consumption, so we are on the greenhouse gas emission for 1 head lettuces on the left side of the slide. What you can see that we impact more than the open field locally, but what we want to fight is not local open field, but really importation of lettuces and also the heated greenhouses. So we are better than this, but there is a lot of information missing on this part. Hydroponics are not very well documented by now, so we don't know where they are. But yeah, for sure, we know that we have to be better than this, but our competitors are importation, for example, and heated greenhouses, and we are better than this solution. So yeah, it's already finished, but I'm pretty sure that there will be a lot of different question and open discussion. So feel free to ask, and I'll be available.
Yeah. Now, to the participants, please ask your questions now. You can do it in the comments as well.
One. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Somebody raised their hand.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for the presentation. So I have a question like, what is really inspired you to start your career in this farming, in the agricultural technology? Do you have like personal background related to this? Or yeah, you can share with us. Thank you.
Yeah, so my background is really I started as a scientist because I've done my PhD on plant biochemistry because I wanted to increase the quality of plants for the human food, and then I thought about that I have to put a lot of effort into the availability part, because a lot of people doesn't know how plant is actually growing. They are just buying it into the supermarket, and then okay, that's good, that's not good, that's cheap, that's not cheap. They don't know a lot of on that, and we have to provide more information on that, and also to provide some alternative, because when you are into a supermarket and you go to the fruits and vegetable part, okay, you don't have that much information, so it's better and better right now, but 5 years ago, for example, you didn't have any information on the where is it produced, how is it produced, so you just buy because it's cheaper than the tomato is cheaper than the one that is close to it. So there is no real information when you buy any other tools, either technological tools or a car, for example. You have a lot of information and you choose very carefully. But for food, you don't have any information, and you can't rely on what is really put into the supermarket. But to be sure that the consumer has alternative solution and can really select what is best for him, you have to have a lot of different alternatives, because you can select something because it's better for the environment, because the consumer is really this is really his background. He wants to save bees, etc. So he wants to have something that is safe for the environment. But the other consumer next to him, he just don't want that. He just want to have something that is good for his health. But you don't have any information. It's not written on the tomato, for example. So that was my background, was really to work on providing different alternatives and be sure that the consumer really has the choice, because every time we just say, okay, the consumer is the king, but actually he can't be the king if you don't have any information and if you don't have any alternative solution. So we have to propose a different ways of growing, different ways of consuming, and that's why I go into this vertical farm industry. Is really to provide new things to the consumer. And another thing is linked to the agricultural world, because we need to save the agricultural world also, because it's really in a difficulty right now. It's more and more difficult to grow food without pesticide, with the climate change, with the consumer expectation. You have to answer all of this question, but actually you are just a growers at the beginning. What you have learned at school is just to grow a plant. It's not to face climate change. It's not to face consumer expectation. So yeah, we have to be sure that the one world is trusting the other, and that is really important, to have a lot of different solutions for the growers and a lot of different alternative for the consumer, and then they will find a way to trust each other. But by now you don't have that.
Thank you very much. That's super cool.
I have one question that is connected to the previous question that you just answered, and a bit from your presentation. Is there validity to the claim that the nutritional value of fruits and vegetables has diminished in recent years, possibly to the GMO? In your opinion, could vertical farming potentially mitigate this issue? Well, at least for certain plants, as like not everything can be grown in a vertical farm. And is it possible? Well, nowadays we start to see more and more this nutritional score on different products in the supermarkets. Of course, you cannot have a nutritional score on each tomato, but like these producers, let's say like something like a nutritional score on producers that can be verified every 6 months or something like that. Do you think this is this can be?
Yeah, so there is some multiple question on this. I will start by which one. So the last one was really on why we can't have personalized nutrition or a Nutri-Score on fruit and vegetable. Right now, you can't have that because if you are in an open field cultivation system, each tomato will have a different microclimate, and microclimate is really important to build the nutritional quality of one fruit. On the overall plant, you will have the same nutritional value, but for sure you won't eat each tomato from the individual plant. You will just eat one. So for sure it will depend on its microclimate. So this is why in a vertical farm industry you control the microclimate, so you will have a stable nutritional value. So if you have a stable nutritional value, then you can put a nutritional score, because otherwise you will have to assay every tomato or have an information on every tomato. So there is some tools that can do that without a destructive measurement, but by now it's not a valuable solution. So we have to, as a vertical farmers, provide some stable nutritional value, and we can do that because we master the microclimate. The other question was about the genetics, and it's also linked with the nutritional value. For sure, the genetics is, as vertical farm, we just we are working with actual with current genetics. So if it's a bad genetic, you can't really increase the nutritional value of this one. So for sure, we are working with current genetics that are available in the market, and we have to select the best variety for vertical farms. And which are the best varieties for vertical farms? It's varieties that are tasteful and that have a lot of nutrients inside every part of the plant. We don't want any pathogen resistance because we don't have it. So we won't use any GMOs as vertical farmers, but maybe more working with traditional genetics, because at the beginning there were no need to have some pathogen resistance. So like in vertical farm. And this answers to the first question about the nutritional decrease within the food. It's not that much linked to the GMO, but it's linked for sure to the cultivar selection that we have done, because we, as I said during the talk, we want to our food is coming from a lot of different countries, and when you harvest strawberries, for example, 1,000 kilometers from the consumer, for sure you won't harvest it at the perfect ripening rate. So it will be not a mature fruit, and then if you cut the ripening rate of a fruit, you just don't have any nutrient in it. So it's linked to the cultivation techniques and the fact that we rely on some exportation and importation of food, and then we select for sure some varieties that are adapted to that, and it's not only linked to the genetic, but it's linked to our way of producing and way of consuming.
I have a question as well. Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. I mean, I think throughout this series of webinars, we've heard different ways and new methods in which every vertical farm is experimenting in different modern ways. And I think this cylinder side is also very interesting. I have a few questions. One of them is more related to the production, how you sell it. Do you have difficulties or any challenges regarding, I mean, compared to traditional farming on where and how to sell the products that you produce? That's one. Another one is, are there any collaborations among different vertical farms, but also maybe also between the traditional farming, and maybe are there any incentives, or should there be more incentives for a government or from EU policies to, I mean, this is kind of like looking ahead, a more sustainable way of farming in the future, but also maybe it will be the way of farming in the future. So are there any incentives, or should there be more incentives to produce? And yeah, I mean, and really looking ahead, do you see any challenges or opportunities in vertical farming?
So let me start by the first
Sorry
one.
for the
So
bombardment.
yeah, we are a technology provider. So actually, we are selling farms and then some agronomical license. So that way, the growers has just to press start, and everything is running inside the farm. So our customers are growers, and they are selling the products from the farm with the label of free of pesticides, produced locally and harvested by hands. If you see that in the French supermarkets, that means that it's from a Futura Gaia's farm. Because by now it's not written Futura Gaia, because it's the grower's choice, because we are not at the front actually. We are a B2B solution, so the growers decided to work on its own marketing, so free of pesticides, etc. It's choice. We are only providing the technological solution. So by now we don't see that much trouble in terms of marketing and how to sell our produce. We are working in France, so it's very traditional market. So for sure, technology is not as accepted as in other countries, like in Asia, for example, or in the US. But when you explain the fact that you can produce free of pesticide food, that it's better for the environment and also better for the growers because you could have a good income, etc. It's okay, but you have to do some pedagogy, that's for sure. And that's something that maybe could link more different vertical farmers. So that is linked to the second question. Every vertical farmers, they just think that they are better than the other competitors. So we for sure won't share our agronomical recipe, even if it's for sure the same. We are just putting the same amount of light, the same amount of nutrients, etc. But we won't share that because it's our business secret. But we can more communicate on the way to sell our product, and really we are at the beginning. We are, even if it's an old industry in Asia, for example, in the Europe it's really a recent business. So we have to create a new way of growing, new way of thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure we can more communicate on that with other vertical farmers. And about the incentive by the EU, I think there is some good thing with the EU because they are relying on metrics, and what is best with vertical farm is that we have a lot of metrics. So if you want to have your carbon footprint, we can have it. If you want to have the water usage, you can have it. So we can share all the metrics and have have a very strong project to propose to the EU, not relying on a philosophy of the agriculture. So I think, yeah, we definitely need more grants and more funding because we are at the beginning. So we are in the valley of the death every day. But yeah, for sure we have all the metrics, so we can share it and go together on that.
Thank you.
We have one more question. Nada, do you want to turn your, okay, you pasted it there. Okay, we have a question from Nada. What are the main benefits of the rotative geoponic system and how does it compare to other vertical farming techniques?
So the main benefits of the rotative part is really energy consumption. So we divided by four, almost by four, the energy consumption compared to traditional vertical farming techniques. So the rotation is really important on that part. And on the part of the geopony, it's more linked to the quality of the plant because we can create a real continuum between the soil, the plants, and the plant quality, which is better for the human health. So we are really a fan of all the microbiota, etc. thing, because we are sure that a plant has to be grown on soil, and if within this soil you can have some microorganism or some fungi, which are beneficial either for the plant and also for the nutritional value of the plant. That's better than hydroponic, for example. So that's why we decided to put rotative and geoponic, and not to rely on the horizontal layer system. But it's okay. Every other system is also working. We just decided to work on another solution because we saw that energy consumption was quite a problem, and it will be a problem for everyone. And also in terms of quality, when you are only growing plants in hydroponic, sometimes you have a less textural product, which is not that good for the taste of your product and also for the nutritional value.
Thank you. Now, last question, if anyone is still thinking. Okay, I think that we don't have any more questions. So thank you, Vincent, for your amazing presentation and for the answers. There were some interesting questions, also some interesting answers as well. I think we learned a lot today. We have 2 more webinars, so if you want to join, of course, you are very welcome. Also to our participants. So yes, well, to our participants, I would like to say, stay curious, keep learning, and let's work together to create brighter future for agriculture. I hope like some of you are working in this sector or would like to work in it. Yeah. Thank you everyone for today.
Thank you
very much.
Nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.